So while Bitcoin just posted its highest monthly close of all time, well over $100,000, what most people don't realize is that 2025 may be one of the hardest years to trade and invest in crypto ever. Because the big question remains, is it time to buy now, or are we going to get another big pullback before a massive rally? And if you're a trader or investor in crypto, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to go ahead and watch this video because I'm going to break down my strategy for the rest of 2025. And by the end of this video, hopefully you'll be set up for success going into Q3 and Q4 of this year. So before I break down my game plan for the rest of 2025, I want to go ahead and talk about where we're at right now with Bitcoin. Now, over this past quarter, as you can see in this chart, Bitcoin has rallied and is now closed its highest monthly close of all time, which is massive. Now, as you can see, Bitcoin has just been consolidating back and forth after the big rally that we've had over the past quarter. And that's because there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, but technically it's been doing pretty well. After breaking above $100,000, you can see that Bitcoin price has yet to break down past below 102. I'm probably not going to get too worried if price breaks down below 100K, but there is a real possibility for price to break back down, get back down into the mid 90K range, which could land price anywhere between this $92,000 to the $97,000 to $96,000 range. And this is a sweet area because this is where price actually consolidated prior to its next breakout. So on a trading perspective, that's a pretty good level to watch. And what I would watch in that area is for price to come back down here, go sideways for a while, and slowly make its way back up over the course of the next few months. Do I think that price can break back down for Bitcoin back to its previous lows? And no, I do not think that price will come back down here. You'll hear that from a lot of people that they think price will come back down, sweep below this level and go back up. But a 30% move is one of those things that I don't think you're going to see that too often, to where it breaks down 30% over the course of several months, rally back up for a month or two, then go back down in that area. It's just not going to work like that. But this area of 94, 95, 95K right here, I think that's probably a pretty good area to watch, especially if you're a long-term dollar cost average buyer of Bitcoin. Is a place that I would definitely put some money back into Bitcoin. Now on a weekly chart, as we zoom back out, you're also going to notice that this is the same area. We're going to see the weekly 20 moving average there. And so that's been a place that we've seen overall over the past couple of years. Bitcoin tends to bounce on that area. And if it doesn't bounce there, it will bounce then after 50 EMA on the weekly, as it did before back in March, April. So that is a place that I'm going to watch. And I don't think that you need to be more speculative than that, meaning forecasting much more in the future. Prices of 70K or even 150K at the moment just doesn't make sense. The key to success with trading and investing, especially with Bitcoin, is to take it day by day and week by week, level by level. And that's what I want you to do. Those are the levels to watch currently for Bitcoin and what I'll be looking at. And just understand that this is not bearish whatsoever. This is just Bitcoin consolidating during an uncertain market as we go into summer. I want to go ahead and break that down and explain that more. Now, why would Bitcoin pull back after it's had a massive rally? And again, that's just because of the uncertainty in the market. Now, we've already seen the Bitcoin ETF, as you can see right here. We've had over 500 million outflows just over this past week. As you can see, the prior month before, it was all green. So as we go into the summertime, a lot of traditional finance people, investors, funds, they tend to risk off. Sell in May, go away is definitely true. So don't be overly worried about this. But a lot of the real stuff going on has to do with the tariffs, with Trump, with China and US. And we've even had some drama from President Trump as well too. President Trump saying that China has totally violated its agreement. And so the Mr. Nice Guy isn't so Mr. Nice Guy right now. And along with that, we know that the United States has also talked with other Asian allies and have actually influenced them to try to beef up spending on their defense. So basically saying that China is an immense threat overall, which doesn't really help the trade issue. Basically, there's a ton of tension right now between China and the United States, with even potential calls with Trump and China. But just understand that I do think that while the market might rally on that, they're soon going to find out that it's going to take longer than what we hope for. And I think that then the market will then pull back post China-US meetings. Now, on top of the China issue with the United States, we've also got tariffs heating up, right? Steel and aluminum tariffs rising, possible retaliation. We have not seen that yet. So when we have our first European retaliation with the United States, we're going to also see markets tend to pull back on that as well. And if you want to go ahead and just pile on some more stuff, let's go ahead and talk about rate cuts. Now, we do know that President Trump is pressuring the Federal Reserve to cut rates, but as Powell has said over and over again, that he remains cautious on inflation due to war risk, oil, tariffs, etc. Basically, the rate cut that we were going to see in June probably isn't going to happen. And if you're watching this after that, it's likely that rate cut didn't happen and it's likely the market pulled back. Regardless, this video is about all of 2025. So keep watching and I'll go ahead and tell you what I'm watching for to end 2025 and my strategy. As we go into summer, as we go into the fall in Q3 and then eventually in Q4, my initial reaction is to be defensive when it comes to trading and investing in markets. And that is because market uncertainty that we just discussed with Chinese-US tensions, tariffs, and then federal rate cuts not coming anytime soon. And just like this Bitcoin chart shows, I think that we could see some real chop over the next few months, which we know if Bitcoin chops, that will create tension with altcoins and other crypto assets. Anytime Bitcoin pulls back, altcoins tend to pull back twice as much. So the time to be risk on altcoins isn't necessarily at the moment, because as I said, if we get some European retaliation, if China and US deals don't go well, the market is going to puke on that news and altcoins are going to hurt severely. So my strategy is definitely being defensive, but at the same time, it's knowing when to buy. And so typically what we see in the past is that crypto and Bitcoin tends to bottom out a lot of times in that June to August timeline. Even though you might not want to be buying a lot right now, doesn't mean that you don't want to buy over the summer, especially when prices go down. Now, think back into Q1 and Q2. When did people not want to buy? Doom and gloom, because when Bitcoin hit $70,000 last time, everybody was saying it's going lower, it's going to 50,000. This is it for Bitcoin. There's a bear market. And as always, when the sentiment is fear, that's when you want to think about buying more or adding to your portfolio. So my strategy involves not buying necessarily right now, but buying potentially here over the next couple of months, especially if we see a pullback with Bitcoin anywhere in the mid 90K range. And another thing I want to watch is the Federal Reserve or FOMC meetings, and that's where they discuss and talk about rate cuts. And now we do know that June, July, September are really the summerish months that have FOMC. Not expecting a rate cut in June, potentially with July, depending on the tariffs. Now, if there is a rate cut in July, we're probably going to see markets start to slowly rally and have bottomed by then. If we don't see a rate cut in July, if we continue to be flat for the Federal Reserve rate cuts, I highly suspect that in September, we will see rate cuts from the Federal Reserve, and that is when we'll have a big rally in the markets in September, October, going into November. Now, historically, Q3 has been hit or miss when it comes to crypto. Half the time red, half the time green. But oftentimes too, when you see a green Q2, it is usually followed by a red Q3. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a lot, but that's also around early Q3. I think by September, as I said, right before Q4, we're going to see a rally, especially because it's likely that the Federal Reserve 100% cuts rates by September. So by the end of Q3, we should see more green in the market. So when it comes to timing of me buying, it's definitely going to be prior to that September FOMC, which again, we saw, which is going to be September 16th and 17th, because there's a very good chance that there's a big rally in Q4. And if 2025 is like any year, it's more likely like 2021, where we saw a 25% and a 5% increase in price at the end of the year, because because as you can see as well, August and September have never been great months overall to buy Bitcoin. In crypto, it's usually October, November, and Q4. So to be positioned prior to that is definitely important, and that's what I'm gonna do when it comes to buying Bitcoin this year. Now, if you want a quick tip on what I also do in order to find strength in altcoins, the altcoins that I'm gonna buy as far as my strategy goes are those altcoins that are strong over the months of chop and pullback with Bitcoin. Now, one thing you can do is get a trading view chart up, and you can actually attach different coins and compare the strength of those over the course of time. And you can see just how altcoins outperform Bitcoin. And so what you can do is pair those up and have those run across. And what you're going to notice is it will give you a percentage of upside or downside over the course of time. And those coins that are showing strength against other altcoins in Bitcoin are the coins you want to be in. So if you're looking to know what coins to buy, this is a strategy that I recommend that you do. And for example, you see right here that Syrup is up 29% over the past 4 days, while coins such as Virtual and Cato, while they're big market caps and have done really well, they're down 5% over the last 5 days. But the key is not just a 5-day time frame. You definitely want to go out weeks to months to see what is showing strength, especially when Bitcoin pulls back. And after Bitcoin bounces, what bounces the hardest with altcoins? That's what you want to watch for. And that is my strategy when it comes to buying specific altcoins that I think will outperform in Q4 of 2025. So in summary, to round up what I talked about in this video is for summer, you want to be defensive, understanding don't chase breakouts. There is real potential due to market uncertainty and global issues with China, US tensions, European retaliation, and lack or no federal rate cuts, which could cause the market to pull back. And knowing that we're probably going to see the lows sometime in summer, you want to be allocated prior to a Q4 rally. And that would likely happen after the Q3 FOMC in mid-September, which should signal more rate cuts, which will signal a market rally over time. So to focus on end of Q3 into Q4 as a time to be in the market. And when it comes to buying those altcoins in crypto, you want to buy the ones that show strength against Bitcoin over a course of time. So to do that, you can actually use charts that show that over a percent of time, and those are the ones you want to target for mid to longer term holds. And that is exactly what I plan to do over the next few months. So 2025 is the year of patience, but it could pay off huge at the end of the year. And if you think this video was helpful, I want you to go ahead and click the subscribe button, because each and every week I am giving more and more videos on crypto, on Bitcoin, tips and strategies that I'm using to be successful, because crypto is one of the last hopes when it comes to financial freedom. And I plan to be as successful as possible over the next year. So with that said, make sure to share this video with somebody, subscribe, click the like button, and then I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Trade safe, and I'll see you on the next one.